Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are going on a very brief adventure today just to look at protractors. So just a quick review of how to use them and just what's out there. So let's have a look. Let's begin with our acknowledgement for our treaty land. We acknowledge that we are meeting from across Alberta on Treaty 6, 7, or 8 territories. And we honor and acknowledge all of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have lived, traveled, and gathered on these lands for thousands of years. We acknowledge that these lands are traditional meeting grounds, giving voice to its original peoples and the story of creation in a way that history has forgotten. So, protractors we are into today. And so this isn't a really long one. But what we're wanting to do is just do a quick revisit in case you haven't had a chance or want just to brush up again on the tools and how to use them. So I'm giving you just a bit of background information. Protractors, really, they're just a semicircle, so half of a circle. Some of them have a ruler on the bottom, some of them go straight across. I've got pictures for you. And really their purpose is to measure angles, and they are premised on a 1-degree increment. When they're a half circle like this, we work on 180 degrees or half of a circle. And when we are working with the full protractor, and we'll use both in the hands-on one, we have the full 360 degrees. They come in plastic, steel, wood, like those ones on the board that we can use, a whole bunch of digital ones now that we can use as well. So there's lots of different opportunities and different ways to use them. They're not new. They're not something we just created in the 20th century. They have been around for over 500 years. They were used by Egyptians, certainly not in the same form that we have now, but forms of them. If you remember your physics years when you went to school, you probably would have learned something to do with the stars and celestial motion beyond just what was in grade 6. And you would have learned Galileo had all instruments for measuring the movement of stars. And it was a very different but same type of measurement, degree measurement. So it was considered a form of a protractor, morphed into more of a celestial sextant type of measure, but we don't want to get into the deep stuff. They've just been around for a while. We just didn't have them look the same. The oldest ones, the ones that were somewhere in the 40s and 50s and 60s, were also metal. And also they still are metal depending on the job that you do, because they are used in a variety of different places. So today, when we use them, we typically use this kind of revision, that kind of form. But they also go right up to, once I understand the 360 and how they get plotted and how I measure things. When you get into high school, you're also using a version of this. It's put onto a grid. It's a measurement version, but it's still, you're measuring it in degrees, and you're measuring it based on different kinds of measures, not just degree measures, but also radian measures. So typically our students in today's world, they see them when we get into those geometry units, and we're starting to talk about the kinds of angles and polygons, the kinds of angles that we can see, categorizing angles, that type of thing. But engineers today use them for bridges, houses. Carpenters use them for measuring furniture. If you're doing construction, you might be using them to measure and design the angles of roof trusses. Physiotherapists, they also use an orthopedic protractor. People might not know that one exists, a goniometer. And it basically what it does is it measures if you hyperextended something, or it measures if you've had surgery, you know, how much mobility and what angle that you can move to, and then go from there. Investigators, when they go out to crime scenes, we'll use it to measure bullet trajectories, or kind of morphedly, they measure blood splatter, like what angle it went at, because that helps them determine what the bullet angle was. So short of the long, they're used in a lot of places. So it might be something just to share with students if you want a little bit of history. Where do you get them? They're probably the easiest thing that we have to buy, and probably the cheapest. You can find them anywhere when you get school supplies, because they're always usually part of the geometry kit. But we don't often use everything that's in that geometry kit. It usually comes down to the protractor and the compass, and the rest of it we might use as a ruler, but it becomes kind of incidental. But anywhere in common places that you find school supplies, you can find them. If you're looking for larger volumes, like I just want the protractor, then something like Spectrum Educational Supplies, there's other ones too. I'm sure that you could just go into there. It doesn't have to be that one, but they're the ones I just found very quickly. They had boxes of them where you could order a class set of just that. You don't have to buy the whole geometry set. Okay, what about online? And remember, this is our goal. Our goal is to get hands-on learning in front of the kids so that they remember it. But if you were wanting to do some demos with them, if you're looking for some places to go here, you've got Visnos, and I've just given you a bit of info on the bottom. They're all places where they can go. They can grab in different ways. They can grab the protractor and they can start to maneuver it around so that they get a fixed angle that's on the measure already, and then they have to go through and place it in the right place and read it off. So there's different versions of it that you can have a look at here. I've also included in this case because doing some practice, and if you don't have enough, or in the event we have COVID, illnesses, and we don't seem to have a shortage of things creeping up all the time, students might be at home and they just need to be keeping up with you. So again, there's places that they can go to here where they would be able to do this one allows them to do some measuring, and they can actually enter what they think it is when they do the measuring. And it gives them a little bit of leeway, 1 or 2 degrees of error, before it says you should try again. So this is a good one if they're at home and needing to do something. K5 is another great learning site for teachers. It is a membership one if you want more, but their premise is really to provide teachers free resources that you can use immediately. And this would be one where they've got some built-in ones. These are demos, but it also gives them some built-in ones where they can have a look and try some out. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and try some out. So come and join us in the recording session for the hands-on. If you are going to join us right away, what you should grab is a protractor, because I want you to actually just do it with me if you're doing a quick refresher, and having a piece of paper with, 1 or 2 big angles, not big as in big wide angles, but big so that you're not having to guess where the lines go. Like, don't make them tiny, 2 centimeter arms on each side. Don't be shy, make them long. Okay, we'll see you on the other video.